Hey everybody, it's time for another live stream with me, Argent. Now, as I've said, the reason I do these so often now is because, frankly, I don't have much else to do. That's even not so much I'm a loser, just by the time I get home in the evening after work, it's normally like 6:30 or something, and I'm normally just kind of tired. But this is a good way to just come on, interact with some people, chill out, all that kind of good stuff. Plus, to be perfectly honest, I wanted to play some more Dark Souls, and I've kind of got into the habit of playing this when I'm streaming. And I finally got through Ornstein and Smo and Anne Orlando, so Catacombs are next. But yeah, a bunch of people have been asking me to talk a bit more about Darksydephil, and since DSP's name is Clickbait, which really brings in the subs and stuff, I figured I might as well go ahead. So, let me think. What's DSP been up to lately? Well, DSP's been having a hard time. A Skype group I was in before I got kicked out of it for being an edgelord. In it, they were saying that DSP is set to have a worst ever month by a pretty large margin. Um, like his I think his normal like bad months is like he's been averaging about 2 million views for a long time now, and it looks like he's going to go below that substantially to almost down to 1.5 million views. Now, the general issue with all of this is we have to rely on Social Blade, which is not particularly accurate. It kind of gives you a general idea as the total number of views. Obviously not total number of views, obviously not the specifics of how much money you make. So we don't know how much that is. We don't really know how much DSP makes from other sources like Twitch subs, like bits, what his actual views are, what his ad rates are, etc. But yeah, things seem like they're going pretty bad in the House of Darkside. So the thing about DSP though is it seems no matter how bad things get, he somehow finds a way to weasel out of it. Whether it's going back to Twitch, whether it's stealing money from his friends, there always seems to be something that comes up and saves his ass. So I guess the question is, what is it going to be this time? Is it going to be one of his fans? Is it going to be like Brightside Viking coming in and saving the day again? I don't know. Thing is, he is just if anything about his financial situation is true, which is difficult because he pathologically lies about anything, God knows how he's ever going to get out of this. As I've said, probably the easiest way and really the only move he has left is selling his serious adult house, and he could probably make enough off of that and use the money to pay off all of his debts and move to a more modest place. But he's not really smart enough to do that, so that's probably not going to happen. So, that all being said, let's talk a bit about my history with DSP. Why did I make a video about him? Why do I do videos on him sometimes? I'm trying to think where the first place I heard of him was. I think the first video I ever saw featuring DSP was the video he made where he was attacking Angry Joe because Angry Joe kept whining about not being able to play Nintendo games. So I think I saw that, and that was back when I was kind of working my way through the Archfiend's backlog. I really enjoyed a lot of the Archfiend stuff back when he was doing YouTube drama. Unfortunately, he stopped doing YouTube drama and just quit altogether, which was pretty lame. But yeah, back in the day, the Archfiend used to do a lot of YouTube drama stuff. And he was talking about DSP, and specifically he was talking about DSP in the context that Darksydephil was begging for money after he had moved across the country despite his business being in decline. So I was thinking, what does that mean exactly? So I started looking up DSP, And I immediately came across the same source that I used for Chris Chan. They're these guys who do Random Assault podcast, and they had a segment called "It Came from the Internet," where they would talk about some of the biggest lolcows. Like they had a couple episodes on that guy with the glasses, DSP, Movie Bob, which I haven't watched yet. Like 4 parts on Chris Chan. So there's just kind of all kinds of interesting stuff. So what was I thinking of again? Yeah, so I came across some of the videos on DSP, namely I looked at his Encyclopedia Dramatica page and it mentioned the Metal Gear Solid stuff. So I found the Let's Endures of that on the Sons of Kojima page. And I watched those and like, this is hilarious. So eventually I started kind of getting into the drama of the whole thing. I started watching a lot of Tevin C's stuff. I probably watched like pretty much all of Tevin C's videos on DSP. I just like Tevin C's voice, to be honest. He has a very like pleasant, calming voice. And he always kind of has like funny metaphors and stuff. But yeah, so from there I just kind of got addicted because as I think it was the two best friends said, DSP is a train wreck that's on all day, every day, 20 times a day. He literally makes like a 20 to 30 minute vlog every day about his life and his pre-stream. Then he makes like the weekend preview. Then he just makes other stuff. The man has recorded pretty much every second of his life for the last like 8 years. Like there's videos of him just like he can't cook, he can't clean. When he was doing plumbing, he had to film himself doing that. Literally every aspect of his life is documented. So why I kind of started covering him, and I've talked about this before, is it just he's kind of as a character kind of summarizes everything wrong with millennials. And I got some shit over that, but he was born, I think, the first year that counts as being a millennial. He's kind of on the cusp, but I think he's close enough to being a millennial. At least in terms of, like, he's functionally a millennial, if not, I guess, actually a millennial. But, yeah, so DSP, Darksydephil. It's, the whole thing's just really sad. It's, I don't really know what to say. So, Crossing Pacific asks, why did he choose to move so far away? Seems random. Now, I've seen different things about that. I think it's because I think Washington State doesn't have personal income tax. He stated that his business does better there because it's there's lower taxes compared to Connecticut, which I can believe because Connecticut's kind of a liberal cesspool, so I'm sure it has like absurdly high taxes. So I don't doubt that, but as to why he specifically decided to go across the country to Washington, I'm not sure. The Encyclopedia Dramatica page, which is not reliable at all, obviously, says that he went across the country because Washington State had more liberal laws for establishing a small business, and that it was done to help Panda Lee with that soap. That just sounds like something Encyclopedia Dramatica probably made up. So I just don't really know. Musty Ketchup asks, why would someone film himself fucking everything up? Because it's monetized. The thing you have to understand is DSP used to get paid by views. DSP used to get he used to get paid just by raw views. Like if he got, I'm trying to think, what was it again? Like if he got 10,000 views, he got paid for 10. He got whatever what was it, penny a view or something. So he got that. Whereas most of us who do YouTube get paid by ads. So I only get paid for a video if an ad runs. If people have ad block, I don't make any money off of it. So DSP used to have a contract. He even told people at one point to use ad block when they were watching his videos, which he's reneged on, of course, now that he's paid by advertising. But yeah, so because he was paid on ads, anything he did that generated ads would that generated views would generate more income for him. Now I'm guilty of this myself because I'll occasionally put up like 2-second vlogs because that generates views, aka money. The other thing about about that is your ranking in YouTube is largely based on the number of views you have, how long your channel's been around, and your number of videos. So by filming everything and getting the maximum number of views, DSP could optimize it so he was literally the highest total number of views possible. Now, Crossing Pacific says that's why he has taken to the 100 videos a day model. Yeah, because back when it didn't matter how long people watched his videos, because a big thing that determines how much you get is the average time people spend watching your videos. So he would spam like 5 to 10 second clips. And when he was 5 to 10 minute clips initially, and then he upped it. But if you're doing what he does, which is like, I don't know what he was doing, like a dozen or so videos a day. When you're doing that many videos a day, then you get maybe 1,000 views on each video. So instead of making like, I'm just trying to do some math in my head. Let's say you made 3 1-hour long videos and each of those got 2,000 views. That would be 2,000 views for the entire day. That would be 6,000 views for the day. But if you make 15 videos and they all get 1,000 views, then you get 15,000 views for the day. And the logical conclusion of this was whenever he does fighting games coverage, he still does. If he does fighting games coverage, every single match he has is its own video. So if he has like 30 rounds, because a round is only like a couple minutes. So if he has like 30 rounds in a day, he'll upload 30 videos in a day. Which is insane. How is anyone supposed to watch that many? There was a point where he actually asked his fans to unsubscribe while he was doing fighting game coverage. He's like, look guys, I gotta be doing fighting game coverage. Your inboxes are gonna get spammed when I upload like 60 videos in a day, etc. So because of how his contract used to work, if each of those like 5-minute fighting videos got 1 view, that would be equivalent to 1 view on an hour. Someone watching an entire hour-long video all the way through. So let's take an example of me. Let's say someone watches one of my reactionary reviews. Let's say they watch my Evangelion reactionary review, which has, I think, 3 ads on it. Because I normally do 1 ad every 15 minutes or so. So they could watch that like half an hour to a 40-minute video, watch 3 ads. And under his old contract, that would be counted the same as someone watching one of the 5-minute fighting game videos. So that's how he got into this bad habit of just spamming shitty video after shitty video. Because that was what was financially doable for him. And he never saw any reason to change from that because he was making a lot of money. Which, I mean, if you're making money, that's okay. You want to keep making money. The problem is he doesn't think long term. Basic logic suggests if you work in a highly lucrative but kind of unstable in the long term field like YouTube is, then you should probably save most of your money because it's not going to last. I mean, YouTube is a very mercurial business model. Ad revenue varies a lot during the year. What's popular matters a lot over time. You can't really base your future off of it. That's not to say you can't do YouTube for a living. You just have to keep that in mind. Like if you're someone like PewDiePie and you're making $7 million a year, it doesn't matter if it's only going to last a year or two. If you're not like completely retarded, then PewDiePie could put away like $5 million a year, buy some property. He could probably buy like I don't know, like a dozen rental units spread out across America, sink a bunch of money into index funds. There's all kinds of things you can do like that to basically have fairly secure money long term. And Darksydephil was not making quite PewDiePie money, but he was making a lot of money. And if you look at the older videos, he blew all his money on statues. You can like look it up, DSP tries it statues or DSP tries it useless spending. So he blew all his money on these stupid statues. He blew a bunch of money on just excessive vacations. Like when I was looking at some of his vacation videos, I mean, I don't begrudge if the guy like needs to take a vacation. Lots of people like to take vacations. There's nothing wrong with that. But he just did it in a very extravagant way. He ate at fancy restaurants when he was on vacation. He stayed at like expensive hotels that he really shouldn't have. Just everything about his vacation was just excessive. There was no reason for him to do what he did. So yeah, there's a lot of kind of stuff like that as part of the whole DSP phenomenon. Let's see here. Like for instance, I remember his trip to Chicago, and I went to Chicago. I put up some vlogs from it. I had some vacation time, so I figured I'd go to Chicago for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 days. See all the museums, see the architecture, etc. So that cost me, including my flight and like 3 nights at a hotel, about $700 Canadian. Which is a fair amount of money, but for like a vacation, it's pretty good. But his trip probably cost that like a ton of other money. Let's see here. I'll get to the question in a minute. I just have to get out of this bad situation I've got myself into. Let's see here. Switch to... Where is my... Silver Knight Spear. There we go. Tip for those of you who don't know about it: if you use the Silver Knight Spear on skeletons, they won't respawn. Because it's considered a holy weapon that requires no faith to wield. Let's see here. My favorite part of DSP's YouTube life is him doing the empty game box giveaway. Yeah, I did one of those as my New Year's giveaway. I gave away an empty game box for whatchamacallit, for Arkham Knight. Arkham City, and I like made a joke like that the code in it was already used. So I was giving away an empty game box with a used code in it, which is what he did. Like I can't even believe that he did that. That's a level of low even for Phil. Let's see here. So people are asking me about Milo. I don't really have anything to say about Milo. I've never really been a fan of Milo. He always kind of seemed like a weirdo to me. I don't know. I think anyone who really trusted him and seen him as a savior was kind of bad. Let's see here. Haha, looking it up. Tries It series. Yeah, so DSP has his own series called DSP Tries It, where he reviews fast food. Now, I'm going to say something probably weird. I actually unironically like DSP Tries It. I think DSP Tries It is a lot better than his regular gaming content. I actually unironically kind of like DSP Tries It. He's a lot more knowledgeable about fast food, really, than he is about games. Like, he doesn't know shit about video games, but he knows a fair amount about fast food. And I've actually purchased things because he recommended them, and I tend to like them. So yeah, I actually think DSP Tries It isn't really that bad, to be perfectly honest. What is bad is his video game coverage. And what makes DSP bad isn't that he's bad at video games. Because a lot of people like to attack DSP because he's bad at video games, because he sucks. People attack him because he disrespects the game devs. I don't really care. I actually find that kind of funny, to be honest. A lot of the time he attacks stuff that I find really shitty. Like, I really hate Team Ico, and I hate Team Ico fanboys. So a lot of people gave him shit for, like, ripping Shadow of the Colossus and The Last Guardian and that kind of stuff a new one. But I appreciated that. He also tends to, like, rip a new one of just a lot of, like, pretentious games. Which I enjoy. Also, just a lot of games he does shitty at are games I don't like. But no, the issue with DSP isn't that he's bad. It's not even that he's a dick. It's just that he's fucking boring. Like, I've tried watching some of his Let's Plays. Like, I tried to give them an honest chance because I'm like, maybe it's not that bad. And I've watched, like, long unedited Let's Plays before. Like, for instance, Captain Chaos, who would probably be horrified that I was mentioning him, does Let's Plays of... I'm trying to remember, Let's Plays of visual novels. So you can go there and he does all of Tsukihime, and he does all of Fate Stay Night, all the routes. He reads them all with, like, voice acting. And I'll watch that, even though that's super long. I watched all of Epic Name Bros' playthrough of Dark Souls 2. I've watched playthroughs of Tales games. I've watched some really long LPs. So the issue with DSP isn't that he doesn't edit. It's that he's fucking boring. Like, try to watch it sometime. I tried to watch his Resident Evil 7 playthrough just because I was kind of curious about the game. And I'm like, well, I'll just give him a chance. I'll see what his content is like. And he's just boring. Like, if I was doing that, and this isn't really a Let's Play, like, this isn't a Dark Souls Let's Play, this is just me playing a video game while I'm talking. But if I was doing an actual Let's Play, I'd be talking about the video game, I'd be talking about, like, the themes, I'd be talking about the characters, I'd be talking about just kind of, like, interesting stuff. Fuck. I hate that. It's such fucking trollish. I'd be talking about all that stuff, but he doesn't talk about any of that. He's just like, shit, look, there's a bug. Shit, fuck. Oh, I failed. This game is bugged. But he doesn't even, like, fail in funny ways. It's kind of funny because if you watch it, This Is How You Don't Play, it actually makes Phil look a lot funnier than he is. Like, I tried watching the Resident Evil 7 Let's Play, and then I tried watching This Is How You Don't Play Resident Evil 7. And even just from a pure, like, not making fun of Phil's standpoint, the This Is How You Don't Play was way funnier. It was way funnier. It was more interesting. His commentary was better. And, like, watching the raw footage, he's just like, oh, look, there's shit on that tree. Oh, look, let's fuck it. Let's fuck the dog. And it's just, that's why DSP's bad. I mean, all the other stuff is like, yeah, but I don't know. I think that's kind of the thing. Pipe Guy says, let's not forget the immature jokes he makes. Yeah, and he does it completely unironically. He just makes, like, if you watch his This Is How You Don't Play Metal Gear Solid 1, which I actually think is legitimately hilarious, not just from a making fun of DSP standpoint. I think DSP can be really funny if he tries. He's just lazy. But like, whenever someone's dying, they are like, please shit on me, please. Just stuff like that. Like, a lot of people like to attack him for his rivalry with, like, his anti-Kojima stuff. but it's hilarious because it's consistent running jokes are always funny, and the whole like DSP hates Kojima thing has been going on so long. It just gets funnier the longer it goes on for. Um, when he did Kojima World Order, I actually thought that was comedic genius. For those of you who aren't aware, what he was actually doing was there is a song from WWE called New World Order, and that's how it goes. It's New World Order. So his parody was Kojima World Order, and like that was really clever. I mean, it was lame, but it was like actually a joke. And most of the time, he doesn't really make jokes. So let's see here. What is everyone's favorite? This is how you don't play. Okay, Crossing Pacific. The three. I don't recommend you watch a Raw. This is how you don't play. I recommend Sons of Kojima does. Whatchamacallit? Sons of Kojima does something called a Let's Endure, where they watch it. This is how you don't play, and they do commentary over it. So it's kind of like a best of both worlds. The best This Is How You Don't Plays, I would say, are in my humble opinion, Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid 3, and The Conduit 2. Now, granted, The Conduit 2 is just a shitty game, and kind of the irony of Conduit 2 is that Fred Fox actually like starts like screaming at how shitty the game is, and they agree with Phil whenever he insults the game. But like the Metal Gear Solid 1 and 3 are just amazing. The level of retardation in them. Like he goes through all of Metal Gear Solid, like half of Metal Gear Solid 3 without figuring out how to use rations, which was kind of become an ongoing joke. Oh no, yeah, I think it was rations. No, it was I think 1 with rations. 3 was I'll try to remember what it was in 3. 3 was sorry, I'm just lost my train of thought there. The silencer. 3 was the silencer. That's what it was. He couldn't figure out how to put a silencer on. He also died like 20 times against the Fury. The irony about that is I actually played Metal Gear Solid 3 on the 3DS, which I raged about a fair amount just because it's hard on the 3DS. Not because the game's hard, it's just hard with that controls. And when I played against the Fury, I beat the Fury without taking damage. I think I took 1 shot, but I beat the Fury with taking no damage in like under a minute, and I'd never played the game before. And I was using a 3DS. So I could do that, but it took DSP like 5 or 6 tries to beat the Fury. He also couldn't beat the end. There's a bunch he couldn't beat. Now, to be fair to DSP, and I have to say this because this irritates me whenever people attack him over this. DSP, when he was fighting the end, he was trying to use the shotgun. He got angry because they took away his shotgun before he fought the end. And he got angry that he didn't have it. And people make fun of him for trying to use the shotgun on the end. Now, what people don't realize is if you look at a guide, a lot of guides will say, use the shotgun on the end. Because the end is because the shotgun has the highest damage output of any weapon in the game. And what you do is the end falls asleep and you get to walk up behind him and you get a free shot on him. And if you shoot the end in the head with the shotgun, it'll kill him in like 2 hits. It does the most damage of any gun in the game. So, while I think DSP wasn't aware of that, I've tried it and you actually kill the end in like 2 or 3 hits if you do that. Now, I didn't do that because I was trying to beat all the bosses non-lethally. So I killed the end non-lethally. But I just wanted to say in DSP's defense, the shotgun is actually one of, if not the best way to kill the end. But he's stupid. Someone's bringing up the Sorrow fight. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, basically the Sorrow in Metal Gear Solid 3 is a gimmick boss fight. You're not actually supposed to fight the Sorrow. Instead, what happens is you... well, I'm not going to spoil it, but you have to know that you're supposed to use a certain item during the boss fight. And if you don't use that certain item, then you'll never get out of it. So DSP pretended that he didn't know that he was supposed to use this certain weapon. But he actually did know because someone told him in the chat. So he pretended he didn't know, and then he used it, and then he said that he knew. So I don't really get why he pretended, but... Okay, everybody, I only have 2 Estus flasks left. I think I'm fucked. I'm going to fight the hardest boss in the game right now. It's going to be the hardest boss in the entire game. I don't know how I'm going to survive this. That difficulty, though. Wow, that was something. Okay, so that was a boss. For just referring to the game for a second, in all the Souls games, I'm too dumb to use magic, so I always play heavy armor, two-handed weapon. 1 second. Someone's mentioning, yeah, so every time I play a Souls game, I always play two-handed weapon quality build. That's kind of my bread and butter. I played that in 1, 2, and 3. I just don't like magic. I know a lot of people like it. I don't like micromanaging it. I don't like not being able to tank a shot or two. So I always play heavy armor. Now, they nerfed heavy armor in Dark Souls 2, but especially in 3, which pissed me off, but yeah. I personally consider this to be the hardest area of the game, just because you have no idea where the hell you're going. Let's see here. Izurin says I don't use magic in Souls games unless I'm role playing. Yeah, I just don't like magic. I normally like two-handed weapons because of stagger and because of alpha damage. One of the things I love about this game series is it's pretty much viable to do anything. So what I like to do is I like to have poise, be able to take a few shots using armor, and then just kill people in 1 or 2 hits. Because if you do what I do, like here with the Zweihander, you can kill people in like 2 or 3 shots, and that actually works pretty well because they don't have a chance to really kill you because you alpha damage them to death. But yeah, someone John Durango says in the chat, Dark Souls 3 would be better if if Bloodborne didn't exist. I agree entirely. I don't really like. I haven't played Bloodborne because I don't have a PS3, or no, I guess PS4. But my issue, I don't like what it did to the series. Like, I think if you want to play like dodgy, running around, that kind of stuff, then that should be viable. But it should also be viable. Like, you shouldn't be forced to do that. Let's see here. Here's a point to ponder. Are Phil's patrons supporting him because they like his content or the sub-content it provides? This is how you don't play, etc. I think it's possible that a lot of them like both of it. I don't see any reason you can't be a fan of Phil and a fan of This Is How You Don't Play. In fact, I'm sure most of Phil's fans also like This Is How You Don't Plays. The issue is, and the problem is, it's too little, too late. Fuck, I died. With regards to Phil. Oh, I have to go all the way back. I know there is a bonfire there. I just haven't played this in a while, and I forget where it was. But what was I thinking about Phil? Yeah, Patreon. What was it about Patreon? So I don't know how, just if you're watching this, how good or bad I am at this game. I've played it a fair amount, and I think I'm like decent at it, but I'm not like a super Dark Souls player. I just like the games a lot for what they are. Maybe sometime I'll do like a Dark Souls stream and I'll talk a bit about like what I know about historical weapons, because the Souls games actually taught me a lot about historical weaponry. If just because like it's people don't really understand how useful shields were historically, and people don't really understand how useful spears are. People often will just go, "Oh, a spear is just kind of some lame peasant weapon," but spears are pretty damn useful because you can hit people without them hitting you, and anything that lets you hit people before they can kill you is pretty nifty in my books. So in this game, it's pretty easy to just get a big shield and a spear and just cheese people with that. But yeah, that was a video I have to do at some point that I forget if I did it or not, but it was going to be on the top 10 most cancerous fan bases, and Dark Souls was actually going to be, I think, #1. Because if you've ever spent any time in the fan community, most of the people are just fucking awful. It's like the ultimate example of like, this is, you're not allowed to have fun community. So yeah, back to DSP, sorry. If you get me talking about Dark Souls, I'll be talking about Dark Souls all night. As with most people, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with this game series, but mostly love. Musty Ketchup says, "What you casual?" And Izurin says, "I can confirm." Yeah, like one of the things is just back to tying this back to DSP. When he was doing his Dark Souls the Redemption run, he got lucky and he picked up a Black Knight halberd really early in the game. And people said that he was cheating by using the Black Knight halberd because it was overpowered. And I was like, well, that's not really fair. I mean, it's not like he grinded for it. And even if he did grind for it, it's in the game. I mean, it's not his fault that the devs like fucked up and they put an overpowered weapon in the game. I mean, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Use the overpowered weapons? Like, isn't that what most people do in RPGs? Fuck, I died. In RPGs like this, you try to find the most OP weapon and exploit them. I mean, I thought it was unfair to say that he was cheating by doing it. It's not cheating. I mean, I think the more legitimate criticism was that it was boring to watch, which I think is true. Like his point, like the people who were more reasonable were like, it's sorry, I've lost my train of thought there just while I was running past the skeletons. The issue is it's not really interesting to watch. Because part of the Souls games is you try a bunch of stuff out, you kind of figure out what play style works for you and what you enjoy doing, and then you kind of optimize that and you build on it. Like, I like two-handed weapons builds. And I play the game specifically and I optimize my character around two-handed weapons build. I don't really think there's anything wrong with that. But the thing with DSP is he just got like one of the strongest weapons in the game by accident really early on, and he never developed a play style. He never developed a strategy. He just kind of ran through the game, basically just destroying everything that moved with his super powerful weapon. And I don't think you can say it's cheating, but you can say that that's really boring um, to watch. Like, I would have liked to, I might have actually watched it if he had of, I don't know, like just played the game normally and come up with a play style and been like, oh, I like this, this thing works for me, this doesn't work for me. And he kind of, like, even if he had just decided that he's not good enough at the game to do like decks and he just used like a spear and shield build, that would have been fine. But I can kind of understand the complaints. I just don't think it's cheating. The Souls games are hard as balls and they're kind of unfair by their nature. So I don't think it's, I think whatever you can do to get through the game in a Souls game is like legit. Like in the second game, I admit I spam toxin arrows a lot. Mainly if you're dealing with those ogres that eat you and like do all your health. And there's a couple other enemies that just have really high health pulls and really high damage outputs. Um, but like I just don't think it was fair to say he was cheating. Also, I have mixed feelings about him using like chat for help, because maybe it's just because I've always played the Dark Souls looking at the Souls games looking at guides, but there's a lot of shit that I just don't think is very self-explanatory. Like I don't think without a guide it would be really hard to figure out that you're supposed to go kill Sif to get the Ring of Artorias, and then you're specifically supposed to use the Ring of Artorias in the Abyss to fight the Four Kings. I don't think that that's very self-explanatory. Like, I think if someone's like, "Oh, yeah, I needed to look at a guide for that," which I did, then I just don't think that that is like that unfair. There's also just a lot of shit in this game that's hidden. There's a lot of basic game mechanics that are just not very like obvious. So I don't really mind that. So it was kind of a mixed bag because I'm sure the Let's Play sucked, but I just don't think the criticism of him was fair. And maybe some of that is just I can't stand a lot of the like the Souls fanboys um who just get angry if you dare to question any aspect of it. Like I remember I got into some fights with people in comments threads and I was like, as much as I love the Souls games, you have to admit they're full of glitches. There's a lot of technical issues. There's stuff like that. Like in this game, I've had it crash. Even with DS Fix, there's frame rate issues. There's hitbox issues. Damage is sometimes inconsistent. Like there's problems with these games, and I don't think acknowledging them means they're not great. Just FromSoft doesn't have a lot of money when they're making these. But I'm not even really trying to like defend DSP there here because he sucks. I'm just trying to be fair, I guess is what I'm trying to do. And like some of the games that he sucks at are like legit hard. But yeah. So let's see. If Phil didn't claim everything is hard to understand, I would be fine with that. But he claims everything in every game is not easy to learn. That's not true. That's Crossing Pacific. Well, you're right. I mean, because the Souls games are hard to figure out. I mean, they're cryptic as balls. You don't know where you're going. A lot of just stuff you don't know what you're doing. I think they're pretty much designed personally, and this is just kind of the way the community works. Because if you look at the community works together to try to figure stuff out. The community tries to like do the lore. People share secrets. People share tips. People share builds. I think the game is like specifically built to be used to guide and to be played talking to someone else. But just to address Pacific, sorry, what was your name again? Crossing Pacific's point. The issue isn't that Phil couldn't figure out Dark Souls, because most people can't figure it out. The issue is every game he plays, even like really easy games, he can't figure out. And you really got to wonder. Like, he can't figure them out. He doesn't have anything interesting to say about it. It's just, yeah. DSP is just, ugh. So let me see. Like speaking of that, I'm gonna look at a guide because I know there's a bonfire here. I just don't remember where exactly. So, so let's see here. Batarez says he does that because he's trying to turn out playthroughs in an assembly line and pump out full playthroughs in as little time as possible. Yeah, I mean that is a big part of the issue. That and he's just not very well informed about anything. Like there's stuff he probably knows about, but he's just it's just very frustrating. Saber says DSP does not have a learning disability. He's adult. Yeah, I mean, like I have a learning disability. I have a fairly difficult one. I mean, you can't tell it because I'm talking right now, and I've talked about this a lot in the past. But I know lots of people with learning disabilities, and a lot of people who have just had difficulties in general who have gotten over them. I have a close friend of mine who has fairly bad autism, but he's a traditional Catholic. He's going to school. He's getting like straight A pluses. He's getting his life together, and so I know people like that. Let's see here. I have a question for you. This is from Izarin, and I'd like your take on it. I was thinking on it today. Can someone who works full time in a career but has no friends outside of work and relationship be a NEET? Would you classify that as a professional NEET? No, a professional NEET is someone who doesn't actually work for a living. Doesn't actually work for a living. I mean, there's other issues with regards to working and not having a social life. And I mean, I don't know how many like friends do you have to have for that to count? Because I have three good friends IRL. One of whom you may have seen it from every. I name drop him a lot. My best friend in real life is Abstract Entity, and we normally hang out Friday nights and go see a movie together, or just as he calls it, shit post and just talk about stuff and just kind of go for walks and get dinner and stuff. Another friend of mine I see when he's in Toronto, but he lives in Ottawa most of the year at school. And the third one works in the same field as me, and I see him occasionally, but I through professional stuff, but I talk to him a fair amount. So I don't know if that counts. I do have three IRL friends, but to me, a professional NEET is someone who is not going anywhere in life, and more importantly than not going anywhere in life, has no desire for self improvement or no desire to try to change his situation. I guess is how I'm putting it. And by self improvement, I think NEETdom is a state of mind. Like I think if you're unemployed, that doesn't make you a NEET, so long as you're doing something. Like maybe you're volunteering, maybe you're involved in your church, maybe you Bear Lou says I'm your friend, happy face. No, I mean I just meant IRL. Like I have a lot of friends. Like I have friends online and we know each other's identity, and like we've seen each other's faces. It's just that they live on the other side of the country, and I would hang out with them if I could, but I just don't live near them. So, oh shit. Oh shit, shit, shit. I hate the Tomb of the Giants. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there as I was about to die. Um, yeah, but there's all kinds of stuff that you can do in life. Like I didn't consider myself a professional NEET when I was unemployed, because I was still trying like almost on a daily basis to look for work, to get jobs. I was teaching myself new skills. I did some volunteer work. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. Even if you're a NEET, and let's say you're a NEET in part because you suffer from mental illness, you suffer from depression or anxiety, I think if you're actively seeking treatment for that, then that makes you much less of a NEET. To me, a NEET is someone who has kind of accepted a bad circumstance and is unwilling to do anything to try to make it better. Now, that's not to say if you're like, as I said, if you're unemployed or something, that doesn't make you a NEET. NEETdom is a state of mind. It's an unwillingness to improve. And even though DSP has a theoretical, a job and a business, the thing that makes him a professional NEET is it's not viable. His business isn't viable, but he depends upon e-begging for money. It's not even like if you want to have like a tip jar or something, and you want to say, look, if you like me, if you like my content, and you want to give me $1 or $2, that's fine. That's perfectly okay with me. That's not my issue. My issue is the fact that DSP is sorry, losing my train of thought here. I'm just watching a video as to where the next bonfire is. Okay, there it is. I know where I'm going now. Let's see here. So yeah, I think, and this is just important, is if you're having trouble in your life, if you're not really like sure where you're going, the best thing to do is to just try to pick something and to work on it. Even if it's job training, even if it's like crap, I died again. I wasn't paying attention there. Even if it's a part-time job, even if it's just anything, doing stuff for your family, etc. That helps your mood. It helps your attitude. It helps you to just be more successful. I'm not talking about like the secret stuff, but yeah. Let's see here. I was just wondering if DSP is so poor and can't pay for shit, wouldn't he have been kicked out of his house? Seems odd, almost like he's milking and part of his persona for the act. Yeah, how much money DSP has is a subject of a lot of contention. I was actually invited to be part of this, like, okay, now I'm just not really paying attention. I was invited to this. Okay, guys, I know I'm dying a lot here, but this is really the only part of Dark Souls where I die a shit ton, just because of how god-awful the platforming is in this game. As much as I love the Souls games, the platforming in them is always horrifically bad. This one wasn't quite as bad as 2, but it's painful. It's very painful. By the way, if anyone wants to post in the comments, what ethnicity is Leanna? Because honestly, I have no idea. She looks really weird. Izurin. I hope that explains what I was saying. I don't really think you can be a professional NEET and be employed. I think there's other things that you can be if you're employed. Let's see here. Yeah, so if anyone can guess what ethnicity Leanna is, I think she's a bean, to be perfectly honest. I think she's she looks like she's maybe either mestiza or castiza, and I say that because she looks largely white but with some slight Asiatic influences. But her name's Hagen, so she's obviously like half white, so at least part white. So yeah. Musty Ketchup says SoCast isn't edgy enough for Argent. That's actually what happened because I was in a group with Fred Fox, and I got kicked out of it today for defending DSP. Because I was defending him because the other people in the group were saying that DSP is a racist, homophobic, sexist, and he deserves to be killed for all the hateful things he's said over the years. And I was just basically saying, to me, when liberals attack DSP and they try to, like, shut him down because he said something mean, that's the only time I get pro-DSP. And I find in a lot of cases, and this is the same thing with Chris Chan, a lot of times people will use, oh, they said something mean about about this person, um, it's okay to harass them. Like, people who ruined Chris Chan's life, like the people who really fucked with him, and not just the people who made fun of him, but like people who actively like tried to get him in trouble. But he, yeah, they use that as their justification. But no, like, I don't get the whole DSP is racist thing. He makes like mildly politically incorrect jokes. No one in this community that I know of would consider DSP actually racist. He is like mildly un-PC. In fact, most of what there's a reason why people call it the edgiest kid show on the internet, because most of his supposed stuff is really, yeah. Politics said, I just remember the guy in the pickle suit. Is SoCast Sons of Kojima? Yes. Let's see here. I mean, his racial humor isn't even good. It's not funny. It's as I said, it's just like the most pleb tier, like shitty racism ever. Like, when I do like racist movie reviews, they're way better than DSP. Like my review of what was that movie called again? The Search of Happiness, where I did it all about high time preference. Like, I thought that was a lot funnier than any joke DSP's done over the years. Or China Economy Strong. China Economy Strong's way funnier. But DSP just literally it's just, I don't know. It kind of makes me sympathize with him a bit. Also, he did that super based Let's Play of Dead Space 2 where he LARPed as Hitler, which I kind of actually want to watch. DSP did a whatchamacallit. DSP did a did a Let's Play of Dead Space 2, and in it he pretended that the aliens were Jews who had been turned into zombies because of their greed, and that he was a Nazi who was sent to kill them. Which is hilarious, which is pretty funny. Like, and he did an entire Let's Play with like a German accent. Okay, so here's Patches. So that actually sounded pretty funny, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, he got a lot of shit. He got kicked off of Blip TV for that one. Argent, do you believe there is a Zog machine? I don't really know what you mean by Zog machine. You're going to have to be a little more specific, because Zog can mean any number of things, from like Protocols of the Elders of Zion to, I guess, kind of like more mild stuff. Have you been following the PewDiePie stuff? No, I haven't. I have to look into that, because I actually just hadn't been following it because I thought it was a joke. But apparently it's serious, maybe. So with regards to Zog, I'm not really sure. I'm actually substantially less anti-Semitic than most people in these circles are. Arjun, are you going to watch Logan? Of course I'm going to watch Logan. I watch pretty much every movie that's come out. I saw the Wolverine in theaters. I just never did a review of it because it's just wasn't interesting enough to review. I'm gonna watch Logan though. It's got really good reviews and the trailer actually looked pretty good. If I could get away with it, and the problem is I can't because YouTube's copyright system, I would do a full commentary track of the original Wolverine. X-Men Origins Wolverine is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It is unbelievable. If you haven't seen X-Men Origins Wolverine, I recommend to watch it. It is the worst movie I've ever seen that has a budget. That movie had a lot of budget and production behind it, but I literally couldn't follow the movie. It was just incoherent. It was just shitty. The special effects were shitty. The script was shitty. all that kind of stuff. It was an awful, awful movie. It's kind of was. It wasn't even like so bad it's good. It was just so bad it's awful, I guess is the term you'd use for it. God, I love this Zweihander. Logan equals my favorite movie of 2016. So hyped for it. I'm not, I won't say I'm hyped, but I'm cautiously optimistic. It doesn't look like it's going to be bad. Abstract and I actually watched X-Men Apocalypse together, and I actually thought that that movie was like horrendous. I only watched it because I like, what's her name? The girl who plays Sansa Stark. Sophie Turner. I only watched X-Men Apocalypse because I like Sophie Turner. And it didn't help. Her beauty couldn't make the movie any less shitty. The new Ghostbusters movie or Wolverine, which is worse? Oh, Wolverine's way worse than Ghostbusters. It's not even close. Ghostbusters was just kind of shitty, but Wolverine was just fucking... Oh. Wolverine was like as bad as Dragon Ball Evolution. No, it was worse because Dragon Ball Evolution was funnier. The second Wolverine wasn't so bad, but the Japanese speaking English was shitty. It was silly. Yeah, I mean the second Wolverine was less bad. It was just kind of boring and kind of lame, but it wasn't like a terrible, terrible movie. The Apocalypse movie was just I actually I wanted to do a review of it, but it was such a soulless product of a film, I couldn't think of anything to say. On that subject, some reaction reviews that I hope to do soon are, I want to do one of Hellsing, where I just kind of rip it a new one, and I want to do one of No More Heroes. And those are kind of the two major ones I'm thinking of doing soon. Just because No More Heroes is, I think, something a lot of people aren't aware of, but I think would make a really interesting reaction review, just because there's a lot of good material there. I hope they make a No More Heroes 3 at some point. Just because Desperate Struggle I didn't really think was that good, but I'd love to see a third one. Hopefully on the Nintendo Switch. I'll probably get the Nintendo Switch just because I commute and because, yeah. Hellsing was so boring. Ugh. Yeah, it's... the reason I want to do a review of it is because there's stuff that's, bad. There's stuff that's good. And what I think is often kind of the most interesting stuff to review is stuff that's, a mixture of good and bad. Stuff that had potential to be good, but they just ruined it through their incompetence. And I think Hellsing's a good example of something that could have been really, really good. Could have been top tier, but they just ruined it. So I'm thinking about how I'm going to, do my review of that. It's probably going to largely just be saying, a lot of the characters are really shitty. Alucard is a fucking abysmal character who, in my view, ruins the entire series. I mean, they're all shitty. Ceres is shitty. Integras is shitty. The only guy who's kind of cool... What was I thinking of again? Oh, okay, so Unrest is referencing Attack on Titan. Fuck Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan, I tried watching it because everyone was like, Argent, you gotta watch Attack on Titan. I thought Attack on Titan was shit. And not only shit, I thought it was awful. I hated everything about Attack on Titan. The art style made me physically ill just looking at it. The art style made me ill. The plot was awful. The characters were awful. everything about it was just awful. Grismo says I want that crossbow in Hellsing. We're talking about the anime Hellsing, not the movie Hellsing. I mean, they're both kind of bad in their own way. I might be the only person who actually thought that the Hellsing TV show was actually better than Hellsing Ultimate. I actually thought the TV show was much better, but that's just kind of a weird opinion I have. I have weird opinions like that the original, the episode 25 and 26 of Evangelion are better than uh, is better than End to Evangelion in terms of resolving the story. But no, Attack on Titan, like I'm actually not even like trying to joke when I say it made me physically ill. Like watching it actually, like just the way it looks, the plot is annoying. You have the like every anime has the same thing. Okay, I might have to do a video and just do a compilation of this. Um, of just every time we have a. Does anyone ever notice that the protagonists in anime are always asexual? Like they're always surrounded by like absurdly hot women who throw themselves at them and they just seem completely indifferent to it. It's like, oh, there's these hot women who are hitting on me. I can't really care. Um, which is just kind of often an issue. What was the question? Politics asks, what do you think of the Star Wars prequels? My favorite Star Wars movie, and I'll probably get some shit for this. My favorite Star Wars movie is Revenge of the Sith. I like it better than Empire Strikes Back. It's close. I'd say in order of my favorite to least favorite Star Wars movies would go Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back. Uh, it's close between A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. I guess A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Attack of the Clones, and Phantom Menace, I guess is the order I'd put them in. I hate these things so much. Argent, you like Digibro? I love Digimon, if that's what you're referring to. I grew up with Digimon. Digimon was like my favorite series as a kid. I liked it a lot more than Pokemon. I like Digimon season 1 through 3. I saw season 4 and it was okay. I liked the opening song, but it was pretty lame. Season 3 is amazing. Even if you don't like Digimon, I'd recommend watching Digimon season 3 because it was made to be kind of like more mature, and as opposed to having like a dozen shitty characters done poorly, they just decided to have three main characters done well. So yeah. Anyways, guys, I should probably get going. This has probably gone on long enough. So I just wanted to thank everybody for showing up, and maybe I'll do the next live stream. Will just be on anime. That sounds good to me. Anyways, talk to you guys later.